Hello, and thank you for joining U.S. Cellular's Internet of Things Technology Workshop. I specifically wanted to send a shout out to each and every one of you that came out this afternoon and gave us some of your precious time to talk about some of these big changes that we're seeing in your industry, in your business. It means a lot to us. I introduce myself. My name is Joe Chancellor with U.S. Cellular. My title is Business Sales Executive. Basically, what that means is I help business development. I help you as business owners and managers and directors understand the technology that can help change your business, what's coming down the line. I really enjoy the solution side and coming alongside businesses and helping you find the best solution that there is available. And I really want to build that trusted advisor. I want to be that person you can come to and ask questions and really help your business move forward. So that's who I am, and that's what I did. Let's jump into the technology end. So we talked about the Internet of Things, and you may have got a meeting request via email. I may have talked to you in person, but I really believe that this is going to impact you. Whether you've heard of Internet Things before or not, I'm sure you'll gain something from this. When you think of Internet of Things and you think of it as a new term, you think of it as a newer technology, a lot of times people are hesitant or scared because they don't want to be early adopters or first adopters of something because there's risk in that. And I can completely understand being avert to wanting to try some of these new technologies that are available today. When you look at just history, though, you can see that when technology changes, it changes fast, and as we move forward in the future, it just gets faster and faster and faster. But just to give some examples, back in the 80s, you really get the first commercial cell phones that are available, the first commercial computers that are available. I mean, heck, when I look back at the bag phones that were installed in the cars, my dad was one of the first adopters of that, and not only did he, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I remember driving to my grandma's house. We're going down the road, and we're calling her on the way to her house, and we're so excited. It's on like a speakerphone. We're like, Grandma, we're on our way to your house, and we're talking on a phone inside the car. And she not only made fun of us, but she scolded us, and basically said, "Why would you want to call on a cell phone or on a phone inside the car? Just talk to me when you get here, or talk to me when you're at home." Now, fast forward 30 years, she's actually using cell phones. She uses them more than I think some of us do, and it just goes to show that that's one of those technologies that just stuck. That I mean, it's been amazing ever since. When you get into the last part of the slide, when you look at the iPhone and the iPad, this is really what just blew my mind open. Obviously, I've been around for a while. I know the iPhone and the iPad came out somewhat recently. But when I think less than 10 years ago, the iPhone was introduced. And what the iPhone and really the smartphones have brought to the table now, the productivity levels that it can really help businesses with. You look at the iPad and really the tablets beginning with the iPad there, 2010 with the first iPad being released. Now, 2016, just 6 years later, it's hard to think of a world without those kind of mobile devices. And I guess what this slide is showing is the technology comes so fast, and if you're not, I don't want to say an early adopter, but if you're not adopting these things as they become mainstream, it really sets you apart and allows the other businesses around you to have a competitive lead because they are jumping into some of these things. On the next slide here, we can talk worldwide, nationwide, when we talk about adoption of Internet of Things or some of the technologies I'm going to explain. But what I want to do is really narrow it down to our region. When you think of the Midwest, I don't know if you've heard this, but I've heard, because I was born on the West Coast, I heard that the Midwest is 20 years behind. That the Midwest, is not up to par to what some of the bigger cities on the coasts might be implementing. And now that I live out here, and now that I'm working with businesses every single day, I'm in the trenches, I'm really understanding that in reality, I think the Midwest is driving the market when it comes to some of these technologies. I'll get into that a little bit later, but what we're seeing is 3/4 of companies, 75% of companies are either exploring or already implementing some of these emerging technologies. And there's a reason why. I'll get into some of that stuff on the bottom, but imagine this. You have a money printer. I mean, that's basically what it is. When you have these new technologies within the Internet of Things umbrella, they provide such return on investments. They drive costs down so much that they pay for themselves in such a short period of time. You'll see in some of the scenarios that we're going to kind of talk about, they are increasing productivity, they're helping you with loss, they're decreasing costs, and the big one is this competitive advantage that you might have versus a competitor. So we're seeing a lot of adopters on this, and it's really exciting because what that tells me is we're no longer in the early adoption stage. There's already been many businesses out there that have gone through that process, even in just the past few years. And now that these solutions are becoming more mainstream, it's becoming easier to get into these solutions. The exciting part is the costs are being driven down when it comes to implementing these solutions as well. So that's pretty exciting. On the next slide here, some of you may be familiar with some of these terms, some of you may not, and I'll kind of explain both. M2M and IoT are like these buzz acronyms. M2M is machine to machine, and really that's been around for a really long time. You think of over a decade, we've had some sort of this machine to machine. When you think machine to machine, what I usually recall is imagine a doctor and a pager. I know pagers, they're not around very much, and people aren't using those anymore. It's almost a joke when you talk about it. But 10 years ago, that was something that doctors might still have on their hip. And if there was an emergency and someone needed to get a hold of a doctor, a lot of times they would just page him or her, and the only way that doctor could call back somebody was they'd have to physically look at that paper, get the information that was sent to them, and through human interaction or some sort of interaction, call back and see what the problem was. The issue with M2M or machine to machine was it was information or data that was only sent in one direction, and you couldn't really do anything with it. So we were really good about having all this data that could be sent to us, but without software in the background running that or telling it to do something, it really was of no value. And if you think of some of the technologies that's been around the past 10, 15 years, it's really been centered around this machine to machine. It really, in a lot of cases, invaluable. When you come into the Internet of Things, though, it allows you to connect everything and to have visibility with everything, and to have solutions or software in place that will interact with those different devices automatically. So it doesn't necessarily require human interaction. So an example of a technology that's being used today with the Internet of Things is a thermostat. You might have seen them at your local Lowe's or Walmart, the Nest thermostats. So basically what it is it's a thermostat that connects to the Internet and gives you real-time data. You can see the temperature inside your house. You can change the temperature in your house. It's smart, so it learns the temperature and your behaviors, and it creates a home that is more efficient. That in itself is an amazing thing. The Internet of Things, basically, I look at it as this way, is an acronym D and A. So D stands for device, N stands for network, A stands for application. So when you think of the device, think of that thermostat I just talked about. It connects it to the network or the internet, and an application would be through your smartphone. You can now control that. You can, and it's smart, and it knows exactly what to do. This is the trouble, though, I found a lot of businesses find when it comes to Internet of Things. When they hear Internet of Things, they think of some of these novelty ideas. While that Nest thermostat is, I think, a really amazing invention, and I do think that it is saving a lot of money, in a business sense, you might think of it as a novelty idea, something that is really good on paper or an idea, but how is it really going to help my business? A lot of times, some of these novel ideas that you think of, novelty ideas, are opening and closing your garage door via your smartphone, or turning lights on or off inside your house via your phone, or to be able to turn your vehicle on or off, or unlock the vehicle with your smartphone. All great things, they really are, but when you get down to it, how is that going to help my business? And I want you to try to think past that, because that is just the beginning of some of the things that on the consumer end, people are mass marketing and businesses are mass marketing, and that's what you're hearing about. There's no limit to what the Internet of Things can help you with within your business, and we'll kind of get into that here in just a few minutes. This next slide, Internet of Things influencing everyday life. This is another area that I'm just amazed at. If you think of now, 2016, this slide's a little bit outdated. If you look there, the second line down, 2015, the average person is using about 3.5 connected devices. What that means is, for like me, I have right now an iPad sitting in front of me that I'm taking my notes on, and I have a smart stylus that connects up to that Bluetooth, and I'm taking notes with a stylus in my iPad. I have an iPhone that's sitting right next to it, and I have a Bluetooth headset I have on right now that I'm speaking through. And I have a laptop sitting right in front of me. I'm probably one of those early adopters that have quite a few more than the average of 3.5. One of the things I also use is a smartwatch it's tracking my heart rate, it's tracking my calories burned, just some basic stuff, but it's still pretty neat to be able to have a smartwatch that can do that. And what we're seeing now is in just a few short years, they're saying that 2020, really the amount of devices that people are going to be using are going to double. What does that mean for you as a business? The more consumers that you have connected and using these connected devices, and really any connected device is part of the Internet of Things, as they become more streamlined and you see it used more persistently by people, it's going to be easier for businesses to jump alongside that, because they're going to be able to use some of that data that the consumer is producing. So, for example, say a doctor's office. I have a local doctor, a family doctor that I go to, and let's just say that I'm not feeling well today. For whatever reason, I might be shortness of breath. I'm not feeling well. I don't know if I'm getting sick or if it could be something more. If I go to the doctor right now, they're going to take some tests. They're going to diagnose me with real-time data. They're going to take data from me right this instant. They're going to take my temperature. They're going to take my blood pressure. They're going to be able to tell the information, and based off of the information that he can see right in front of me, that's going to be the only thing they can use to diagnose me. Moving forward, in just a few years, I really believe they're going to be able to use some of the information that my smartwatch is now taking, that's now collecting all that data. So if you think about that, in a couple of years, we may go to the doctors and say, hey, we're not feeling well, and they'll go back to that information and be able to see heart rate. They'll be able to go back and see my temperature. They'll be able to go back and see some of this stuff, and they'll be able to better diagnose me because of the connected devices around me. Now, that's just one instance. There's going to be a lot of different instances where that data will help you as well. When we get to the next slide here, global efficiencies. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but basically, we're talking over the next 4 years, they're going to really see efficiencies of up to $14.4 trillion. What does that mean? Basically, this means that there's going to be huge cost savings when it comes to any kind of, no matter what the savings is, it could be driving down fuel costs, it could be increasing productivity, it could be reducing the amount of paper that's being used if we help you move to e-logs or e-forms. There's a lot of different things that are able to help businesses, and that's where these efficiencies are coming in. Bottom line is, I just want you to get a little piece of that pie. I want you, whether you use us or not, to be able to find some savings for your business, drive that bottom line down, increase some productivity, and be able to take those next steps that you've been wanting to take for a long time in your business, because U.S. Cellular is coming alongside you and helping you find where you can find those savings. One of the last slides here really depicting some of the things that we have available within U.S. Cellular. There's a lot of benefits across all industries. You think of, you look at the first one, the farming window there, and the agricultural industry. I talked earlier about how there's a lot of people that say the Midwest is 20 years behind. Well, I'm here to tell you, in the agriculture industry, I think in the farming industry, the industry that feeds our world, that feeds our nation, there is more technology in our farming and agriculture industry now than I think really any other industry that's out there. With the precision farming that's out there, that's using GPS satellites and cellular towers and everything to bring precision farming down to sub-inch, to be able to help our customers turn on and off their water irrigation pivots via a wireless router that is built right into their pivot, so they don't have to have the farmer or an employee go out to the pivot and manually do it. Now they can do it all automatically. I mean, there's huge savings there. To help any kind of business control any of their HVAC, and just to know what temperatures are and humidity levels are, and have those automated for you, so you don't have to worry about that, and you can drive costs down. Outside of that, right now we're working with the Iowa DOT and their 960 snow plows, and not just tracking where those plows are, but tracking all the information that plow is having, whether it's a harsh event of a hard stop, a hard acceleration, turning left, turning right, a hard turn, whether the blade is up or down, at what angle it's at. We're able to track the levels of the salt and the salt that's being thrown out onto the road. There's huge savings that are taking place right now, just with some of the solutions that we have in place with Iowa DOT. It goes on and on and on. With the fleet management, we're able to help with fleet and assets. On the asset side, if you have a trailer or something that might be a tool or a piece of machinery that maybe doesn't have an engine on it, that doesn't have a battery per se, we can still track those for you and tell you in real time where they're at. So you don't have to go try to find your equipment. It's very easy to just pull up the software and tell exactly where it's at. And it goes on and on and on. There's so many different areas that we're seeing benefits across all industries. And really, this is the bread and butter. This is where U.S. Cellular can come along and really help you. These are the 4 areas that I would say are our niche, where we were, I would say, industry leaders when it comes to what we can help. The first one there, and the top left, the monitor and control side, really anything that you want visibility in your business. And if you want to see anywhere in your business that you can't be right now, this is exactly the solution that you would need, and we'd want to come alongside you and help you in that. So what does that look like, monitor and control? We've had greenhouses that wanted humidity sensors placed throughout their greenhouse because they were seeing better yields in different parts of the greenhouse than others, and found out that it was a humidity issue, and we helped them with that. Right now, I think that there's been some floods in eastern Iowa. The rivers are rising, and how amazing would it be to have a sensor in a basement or in a warehouse or in whatever area of your business you might have that's susceptible to flooding or to a pipe breaking or anything like that, and to know immediately when there is water rising instead of coming in the next morning and finding all your product is ruined. Monitoring control, we work with an ice company here locally that wants real-time temperature. Imagine that if a freezer goes down in an ice factory, you lose all your product. That is a really easy way for us to come alongside and say, you know what, let's get someone alerted immediately when that freezer stops working. Or how about a piece of machinery inside that ice company, that ice manufacturer, that it's like an auger that's going, and they already had in place monitors that would say, is this machine running or not? They're basically a voltage meter, and they were getting alerts of that. But what happens if a belt slips off? And what happens if a user walks away, an employee walks away, and no one's running that machine, but it's going by itself? Well, now there's monitors in place that's monitoring all that. It's monitoring vibration to make sure that it's running properly, and if it's not running properly, it's going to alert someone or shut down the machine, because again, it can be set up to do things on its own. It doesn't necessarily need human interaction. It can be set up to where an employee has to be in a certain spot. You get infrared sensors to make sure that this machinery is being ran by a human, and if someone walks away, that it automatically shuts down for safety concerns and such. So in reality, monitoring control, there's no limit in what we can do on this. There's the partners that we work with have thousands of different types of sensors. If you can imagine it, we can usually come alongside and help put it in place. Via our cellular network and the gateways that we use, you don't need to go into huge capital costs and rewire your entire business or your plant. It can all be wireless. That's the exciting part. So really, cost-wise, it's very minimal in comparison to what's been available in the past. Moving on to the right side, the top right there in the red box, you look at the managed fleet and assets. And this is really probably the area that we see the biggest return on investment. When you think of managed fleet and assets, yes, we can help manage your fleet of vehicles, whether they're light duty, whether they're heavy duty, with real-time analytics and real-time location tracking of those vehicles. They'll give you diagnostics of how that vehicle is running and any issues that they might have, so you or your mechanics or your transportation directors can know the information at a moment's notice or have a report of it when it's due. The other thing that's really nice with this is it tells you harsh events. So we have many different partners that can help provide different solutions, but they all really have a lot of the same solutions. So you think of harsh events, of someone stopping hard, accelerating hard, a hard turn, say left or right, things that would damage your equipment or require higher maintenance because of driver behaviors. It's tracking all that so you can go back to your drivers and educate them of how to drive better so you don't have those kind of problems. The other nice thing is a liability issue. So let's say, I'm sure we've all had that call, that from someone that's calling saying, hey, I saw your driver driving erratically down the highway, whatever it might be. Sometimes I think those are real, but I think a lot of times, for whatever reason, people just, they don't have anything better to do. So they want to make your life a little bit tougher that day. To be able to go back and really in real time look to see, okay, where is that truck? Where is that vehicle? What time did this person say it happened? And be able to go back to that exact time, to that exact minute and second, say, this driver was on this road at this time to this time, they're going at this speed, and it really protects your drivers that way. Liability, you think of maybe an accident that could happen, to be able to have real-time data that shows that a vehicle did a hard brake or hard stop before the accident took place, to be able to show what the speed was that vehicle was traveling at the accident. You tell your insurance agent some of the things that your new fleet management system can do. They're going to be giddy, and you're going to be giddy when you see some of the savings that you'll get just on the insurance side. And that's just on the fleet end. When you think of assets, we talked about it before, any kind of trailers that you might have, any kind of equipment that you might have that may not have a battery or a engine or a motor on it. We have very long longevity batteries that can be placed into these trackers that will still allow you to see exactly where your equipment is, no matter where it's at. I run into businesses all the time that have what they call ghost assets, where they might have, whatever, a backhoe or just a little bobcat that gets used at a lot of these different places. They might be a job trailer, and it might be a job trailer that's 40 feet long. There's still a chance that those can get lost and really not be found until a year later, and think of the productivity that could have been lost. A lot of times they're going out and buying new equipment. This allows you to see in real time where all that stuff is. On the bottom left, you look at the business automation and options, and that's just streamlining your business. That's looking at anything that might be old or antiquated and bringing it into today's technology. So that could be, if you're a trucking firm, helping you with the federal mandate of moving to e-logs. We do that all the time, every single day. We can help with taking any kind of paper forms that you have and turning those into electronic forms. And as the person or the employee is writing some of the information down in pre-loaded forms, that is not being stored inside the truck or inside their folder or their back pocket. That is actually being sent real time back to the office. So you have all that data that you can go through, and really it helps the business considerably. On the business automation and operations, we can help with your time clock and time entry, helping you if you are dealing with any kind of fraud on the time entry. We can help you with that, as well as not only keeping track of hours for your employees, but keeping track of hours for your equipment or for your job that you might be on. Again, there's so many different areas that we can help with this, many different partners that we work with. We build solutions for all sizes of business, whether it's 5 employees or 5,000. We can come alongside and really help you build something that's specific to you. And the last one is communications. And you look at communications and you think, well, of course, US Cellular could help with cell phones, tablets, and the such, and you would be correct. We absolutely can. And if you want to go down that path, we absolutely will help you with your cell phones and your tablets and this your basic cellular network stuff. Beyond that, though, what we really love in this quadrant is failover internet. And basically what that means is at your place of business, you probably have some sort of DSL or broadband or maybe a cable connection. Some of you may even have a dedicated connection from your internet service provider. And these solutions can never be 100%. At some point, those systems are going to go down. And when it goes down, you lose productivity. You lose your ability to maintain your business. If you're in a retail environment, you can't take credit cards. Your customers are going to be upset because they can't purchase what they want, and they probably are going to remember that the next time they want to go buy something. Our customers are pretty loyal, but they also remember when things don't go right. And just think what it costs you to be down for 6 hours or 12 hours or a day, because it's inevitable, it's going to happen. But we can come alongside you through Cradlepoint or Sierra modems and routers and really come alongside your internet service provider that you have now and just be in place as your secondary internet provider. So when those services do inevitably go down, you seamlessly transition over to us for just the short period of time that you are down. Your productivity stays at the level that it needs to be. And then when things are restored, it switches back all automatically. And cost-wise, this is the most exciting part about this internet failover piece. There's no cost to it. It costs a very small capital cost to actually start out, to begin using and actually buy that router. But beyond that, you're not using any data until you fail over. So their only cost there is when you fail over. So it's a very minimal cost if the only thing you did with us is internet failover. The exciting part is when you have your other services with us, really that internet failover piece just gets absorbed into all the other costs. And so it becomes a perfect win-win solution for everybody. When you think of all these solutions, this is the exciting part. Whether you've looked at this a year ago, 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, I doubt 5 years ago because many of these solutions weren't even available, or at least not reliable ones for that matter. But with the technology that's increasing every single day and the environment that we find ourselves in now, the costs for these solutions have just been drove down to the ground. These solutions are so much cheaper than what they have been in the past. So if there's anything that you've looked at in the past and you said, I just don't have the budget for that, this is now the time to be looking at these things. The other exciting part is they are no longer brand new into the market. So remember how I said earlier how a lot of people are hesitant to jump into being early adopters of certain solutions, because what you don't want is to implement a solution today that a year from now is no longer valid, that you can't use, that parts aren't available for anymore, whatever it may be. Well, these solutions in the niches that we really stick within US Cellular, these are tried and true. We work with partners that have been doing this for a long time. They have excellent experience. And everything that we provide is going to be around tomorrow. We're not going to join with a partner that has something so brand new that it's going to be obsolete in 6 months or a year. These are tried and true solutions that are being implemented across this region, across really our entire footprint of where we have services. And I think you'll come to find that all these solutions are going to drive down your bottom line. So let's say that there's something that you want to move forward in, that you want to learn more about. Again, I'm Joe Chancellor. I'm the business sales executive. I'm really in the business development end of helping your business. Really, my expertise is helping you, is helping build that solution, and really taking a team approach and realizing that it's not just me. We have a whole team of people within US Cellular, and then a whole team of people with our vendor and our partners that come alongside you to find that best solution. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I help out with. And then Matt Carpenter, he is our business account manager. So let's say you decide to move forward in some of these areas. We help you find the right solution, and you decide to use US Cellular as that solution provider, and we implement some of these solutions. For the first, I would say, 4 to 6 months, I'm going to be your point of contact. I'm going to be your guy that's helping you through that process to make sure everything's going and running smooth. Moving forward, though, we understand that with account management, you may want more interaction than I'm able to give. So we bring Matt Carpenter along. He covers the exact same territory that I cover. And he would be your point of contact, and he would be not only your point of contact for you reaching out to him, he'd also be reaching out to you as well to make sure that everything's running well, that there's no issues, and to let you know of anything new within US Cellular. So that's the beginning stages of the 2 people that you have. And the third one here is Mike Bauer. He's on the call today, and he's a wireless solutions architect. And basically, he helps on advanced stuff. So he helps with advanced solutions consultation. He helps with the IT interface. And with those partners I keep speaking about, he really works as a liaison for you with those. So while you can still contact those partners directly, we figure, why would you have to do that if you have an entire team around you that helps you with that? So that's your 3 main points of contact that are local, that are here for you. On top of that, you have our business director of sales. You have an area sales manager. You have advanced wireless specialist, field engineering. You name it, we're here for you. And we're all, in the business. We all got cell phones. We all got email. There's a lot of times where our businesses, our customers need help. We're right there with them. So you have an entire team really to come alongside you to help you find some of these solutions. And really, our approach when it comes to these solutions is this. This is really an overview. This is an overview of some of the areas that we can help. It by no means covers everything. It's meant just to give you that basic understanding of the solutions that we really have a niche in and how we can help you. The next step would be, if you want more information, is to schedule a business needs assessment. It's just we sit down for maybe half an hour, get to know you and your business a little bit more, and start brainstorming ideas together of solutions that might help you. Once we have the information in place, we really help with strategy development, and that's when we bring our partners involved and we find that right solution. We find it perfect for you. We fine-tune it for you. And a lot of times that's a back and forth process, but really we want to develop a strategy. The next step would be a proposal or an evaluation, and so we'd come alongside. You'd have all the pricing, all the information that you need to make a wise decision. And if it's something that you decide, yes, it works perfect for your business, you want to move forward with it, we help with an implementation solution. Basically on the implementation, there's been sometimes where we do everything all at once. Many times we do a phased approach where, say there's 3 or 4 things we want to get done. We want to make sure that each item gets done and is working well before we move on to the next. Because for us as USR, absolutely, we're confident we can do them all at once, but for you and your business, a lot of times it makes sense to do those and stair-step that. And then the last is once we got the solution in place, we got the right solution, you're okay with all the information that you've been given, we implement the solution, it's working well, and then we come alongside with Matt and we help you really review your business on say a quarterly or twice a year basis, so you really understand what's new, what's in place, because again, the technology is always changing, to make sure that you are receiving that competitive advantage over your competitors, and to make sure that you're always getting the best products and the best services and the best pricing that is available. So really, it's a customer-centric approach when it comes to these solutions. That is it. I appreciate each and every one of you coming out today. Have a good afternoon.